welcome to Stan the Wine Man TV. I am your host, Stan Rattan, and this is the Blue Collar Wine Show, where I help you spend your wine dollars wisely. Very excited about this episode because every year I pick a winery of the year. And about 4 months ago I tasted through Ryan's wines, and I was just absolutely blown away by those wines. And it didn't take me long to figure out that Ryan Crane's winery, Kerloo Cellars, which means call the crane.
Call the crane, my calling to make wine.
Yeah.
Yep.
Would be my winery of the year. And so here we are. I'm going to interview with Ryan. We're going to taste some of his wines. We're drinking the Grenache right now. And one of the things that blew me away about his wine, and I'll just go over this quickly because we have a little group here watching. We talked about why I chose Kerloo. First of all, I think the pricing is very fair for what you get. And secondly, I think the wines are very pure and seamless. Third, they show vintage variation. I just got done tasting the Chardonnay from 2015,
yeah,
which tastes different than the 16. That's what you want. And I knew that would be the case just based on what I tasted in those wines. They show terroir, they show sense of place, they show typicity. Those are all the things I look for, and the pricing is fair for what you get. So Ryan, thank you very much for joining me, letting me come down. This is his winery right here.
Hello everyone, welcome to Kerloo Cellars.
Ryan, I guess the first thing I'd like to ask you, and this is going to take a while, you can't do it in 5 minutes.
I'll try.
How did you, what made you get to where you are now in your sense of how you want to make the wines? How did you develop that? What steps along? I know you worked with Kerloo Cellars, Marie.
Yeah, Justin Lapiano.
Yeah, and then you did a little stint at Animali, is that how they say it?
I filled carboys and hung out in his basement way back in the day. So okay. Yes. All right, so
along the way, when did you decide this is the way I want to make wines and this is why I want to make them this way?
It's a fun question. I think all us winemakers, right, have a story behind why we do what we do, right? And I guess the short answer somewhat is I've tasted a lot of wines in the past, and I obviously have an opinion no different than all reviewers out there. And I wanted to put a stamp on what Washington State meant on making wines that, like Stan said, that resembled a sense of terroir and a sense of wines that were true to varietal as well. Whereas with our wines, I'm not trying to make spaghetti because we can always make spaghetti pretty good.
Yeah.
We're really trying to focus on each varietal, each vineyard. And it's the hardest way to really make wines and also make them well. So for me, overall, it was looking at the future of Washington State and the future of our brand, even though we've done it for 11 years now, and make wines that really touch your soul, that resemble something that you will always remember no matter what wine's on the table, especially our wines.
So when you're drinking a bottle of Kerloo Cellars, you're getting Ryan's soul in that wine.
Yeah, during harvest, we ultimately, it's kind of a mass amount of time of insanity, and the goal is, you put your shoes on and you pull up your boots and you get it done, right? And for me, I love that part, and so every year when we go to battle for those 3 months, every wine that we have come through the door, means something to me no matter what happens in the vineyard necessarily. I'm fortunate because I have great growers, and my job is really just not to screw it up. And so we push all those wines in a vision that's in my head to go somewhere where I want to go.
Okay. I just had a question. I lost it.
Bring it, Stan.
You like Rhone style wines, obviously. The majority of your portfolio is Rhone style wines, and I know that Washington State, you're able to grow those Rhone style wines very well in Washington State.
Yeah.
But is there some French producer or something about France that made you say, hey, I really like these wines, and what experience in your life did that come to fruition?
It's a two-part question, really, or answer. One is I don't have any money, and I didn't when I started. And another reason why you should buy our wines. Buy his wines. I only had a certain amount of money to make Syrah in 2007, so I made 6 barrels of Syrah. That's all I could afford. I felt when I tasted wines out of Washington early on in my career that I loved where Rhones were going in cooler climate sites. Even if it's Grenache or Mourvèdre or Syrah, all those sort of list items that we know from a Southern Rhone and Northern Rhone standpoint. And I think I get this question sometimes too with other people: was there one wine that touched my life, right? Or was there one wine that said, okay, cool, Ryan Crane, you must make Syrah, or Ryan Crane, you must make Grenache? The answer is no. For me, when I drink Syrah, I love Northern Rhone. The wines they're gamey and bloody, and they're bright. They're really focused wines. Oftentimes those wines can be a little tannic as well, even with Syrah, which is crazy. In New World, we don't taste really a lot of tannins in New World Syrahs. We do make a little more length with our Syrahs, cold cluster ferments. And so when I tasted those wines, I was like, oh my God, right? And when I rolled through, the Northern Rhone and even some Southern with some GSMs or some Grenache raw, those wines were it was like an epiphany, right? And so it made me think about what we do here at Kerloo and how do we make those wines out of Washington State that have restraint, that have balance, that have sort of this seamless sort of structure on the palate. So that's kind of where my crazy mind worked with what we do here.
Yeah, well, I can see that. Some of my favorite Syrah come from St. Joseph.
Yep.
Just that meaty, kind of huge.
They're bigger, thicker.
Yeah,
a
that
little more
one
viscous.
feel like you're chewing a steak when you're eating them.
Yeah.
Well, that's cool. That's kind of what I thought, because I think I referred to Northern Rhone. I reviewed, by the way, we're going to put a link to their website on this episode. And I reviewed the reds, which will go up on Friday. We're here, it's Wednesday.
Check it out.
On Tuesday. Yes. I think I referred to Côte Rôtie when I was tasting your Syrah.
Yeah.
I believe I did. I'm pretty sure I remember doing that. And
14 well Cellar.
yeah, very good. What I liked about it is it stayed away from what's very typical, and I do like this part of Washington Syrah. You get that bacon fat, smoky. Yours had smoke, but more restrained, and no bacon fat. At least I didn't get any of it.
Yeah.
It definitely reminded me of Northern Rhone, because you're really hard pressed to find bacon fat in those wines. It's there, but it's
more tarry.
Yeah,
a little more
tarry,
gamey.
tobacco, that sort of thing.
Bring it in.
So we're tasting the Grenache right now, which, by the way, one of the amazing things I like about this Grenache is that it dances lightly on the palate, but has good flavor, and that's hard to achieve. To have that kind of light feeling on the palate, you don't feel like at first you're like, is there something there? And then it comes on, the tobacco, the blackberry, the plum, the strawberry, all kind of comes through.
Yeah.
And then you have that white pepper on the finish that I really like, and that there is some minerality to this wine. And is this the upland, you said?
So this is all upland.
Tell me a little story about this upland vineyard.
Yeah, so I was tasting with some winemakers in Walla, and I was looking for some more Grenache at the time, and I just started the winery, and no one really knew me. And I called Todd Newhouse on the phone and said, hey, I need some Grenache. And he's like, well, it's running low, but you can come out and take a look at it from an acre standpoint. I said, great. So I went out, brought some beers, because all winemakers drink a lot of beer. Yeah. I do as well.
Exact, right next door.
Yeah, exactly. Yep. I walked the blocks with Todd, and I was blown away. So this vineyard's in its own east side, so it's nice mountain AVA, very small AVA as well. Amazing site. Todd's one of the best growers out there. I'm honored to work with the guy. So we started making this in 2011, and as we've kind of continued our wine process here at Kerloo, every lot that comes in the door, we push every single one. And so with Grenache in Washington, the dicey part with Grenache is that it ripens really quickly at a certain point of maturation. And so that's why oftentimes in Grenache in Washington, the wines just tend to be fruity and fat and high alcohol, right? At least what I taste. And so for us, it's trying to bring that back, right? And make Grenache that tastes like Grenache. And so we whole cluster ferment our Grenache, which I don't know, myself, Gramercy, I think Cayuse, a few other producers probably I know they whole clusters of Grenache. For us, it's about purity and focus and the ripening times to make Grenache what Grenache should be. Ruby, delicate, not over extracted. A wine that shows classic varietal characteristics. So this wine to me, I love this wine. It's a dork wine to me.
Yeah. I can see that.
It's definitely not in the regular realm of Grenache in Washington, but it's in the realm of Southern Rhone to me. I love this stewed component on this wine too. It's just
what
the stewed, the sort of stewed sort of component to it, aromatically. It's just the wine's just beautiful.
There's a lot of earth on the backside. Yeah, it's very much a. It definitely has a new world kiss to it.
Yeah.
It has the old world style and a little bit of love handles from
the years of drinking.
So one of the things I wanted to mention too, and I think you have it here, the cab. After I shot my 2 YouTube episodes with Kerloo Cellars, I had to have a group of guys over to my house, and I said, I'm not going to waste this enough. And every one of them were just blown away by these wines. In particular, the cab, which I thought was kind of interesting because you focus on Rhone style wines.
Yeah. But
your cab was just incredible. Yeah. So what do you want to put?
Let's do we're talking about Syrah a little bit, Rhone. Let's dive into some Syrah.
Sure.
The next 2 wines, say you're going to taste, you haven't tasted yet. So these aren't through our distributor. These are some kind of reserve release wines that we do here at Kerloo. We do about 5 to 6 a year. These wines are wines that are really special to us. So this one is Upland Vineyard Syrah. So we're going from Grenache to Syrah, same site, very far away. Higher elevation with Syrah on our side for Uplands versus Grenache. 94% Syrah. We do co-ferment some of our Syrahs. The Syrahs that tend to be a little more warmer from a climate standpoint. We do co-ferment to bring some prettiness back to the wine. So 94 Syrah, 6% Brignon Yet. 100% whole cluster ferment, so 100% whole cluster, 100% whole cluster firm, to add a little more minerality and freshness and delicacy to the wine with light at the same time. So
just for 1 second.
Yeah.
For those of you who don't know the difference between whole cluster and regular fermenters, so you don't punch down at all. You let it break down naturally. Is it a longer ferment, or do you punch less?
Yeah. It's a day-to-day decision. With our whole cluster firms, we basically take a half a ton of bin, picking bin, right? We dump it into a 1.5 ton fermenter. We do all the top ferments here. We foot stomp every half ton, so no machine at all.
Okay.
We foot stomp it. We do another half ton. We foot stomp it. Usually we get about 1.2 tons in the firm, just because the whole clusters are bigger because they're still whole berries, and some are broken. And then we ferment the deep bad boy. So this one for us for Syrahs since 2014, 100% whole cluster firms, and the thing for us overall is it brings a sense of earthy dirtiness. It gives a sense of length with the wine, where Syrahs can just be, really fat up front and nothing on the back end. And so with our whole clusters, it's all about touch. And all the native ferments that we do too, this wine as well, native, so no yeast added at all, no SO2. tend to give us a chance to make delicate wines with wines that have structure without heaviness.
Yeah, there you go.
Cheers. Man.
Cheers. I'm gonna give them a close up of the Syrah. We already got it on the last one, but never can get enough, right?
And this one I released in March.
There we go. Hard to see your label. It's a cool label, but I love it. And the color on this bad boy is amazing. Hopefully I get close enough for you to see it. But this stuff has got incredible color. There you go, up in white. Yeah, you can see that. It's just really, really cool. Now, do you do on your fermenting, how long does it take you to ferment? What's your average fermentation time? Is it slower than most?
So we dry ice all of our stuff,
Okay.
including our white wines. Our red wines will do the same thing. The goal with our roads is slow, steady ferment. We don't get big jumps with our roads. We're kind of trucking away a brick and a half a day. With native ferments, they all have a mind of themselves. That's why we drink wine, right? Which is awesome. And so with natives, they'll usually, if we get one started, which the crazy part is all of our natives, everyone will finished. It's usually about 7-8 days until it starts, and then that ferment goes for another 12-15 days. It's a 20 to 24 day ferm.
Okay.
We don't turn and burn our stuff at all. We're more about texture later and see where that wine goes. We're 20 to 24 days on all of our road wines from our firms.
Okay. What's the average?
I think the average, if you're doing
Those
pitch yeast, I think it's 12 to 15.
Yeah, 12 to 15. Yeah, that's not bad. And when you press them, what's your philosophy on pressing?
So the dicey thing with whole clusters is that if you were to say if you sat in a fermenter and you foot stomped whole clusters, right? You still have berries that are basically not broken, right? We have some berries that are broken, right? So when we go to press with stems that aren't liquefied, because you don't want to pick Syrah at 29 bricks.
No.
Last time I checked.
Well, unless you're sitting one on there.
Correct. Yes. Correct. Which is cool. It's all good. I do like some of their wines, but
Yes.
so we press really gentle. We press like 0.2 bars, where usually a press cycle goes to like 1.5. So we're about quality, not quantity. And so when we press all of our whole cluster wines, we'll sit and taste the press man and see where it is. And as you press whole cluster, the nice thing is once all the whole berries are in the press, you're pressing sugar, right? So then you're tasting sugar. So you go from a negative number in the firm to 3 bricks in the press pan, and so it's a dicey thing because the sugar throws off the tannins, and so it's kind of one of those weighty things of okay, cool, like when do we want to pull it? And so we press really gentle on all of our wines, for focus and purity, ultimately.
And you just, how many times do you press the grapes? Just once? Or
Yeah,
twice?
we do a manual press on it. We usually press it twice,
Yeah.
and then we tap out.
Okay.
No miles.
I went to a crush, did part of the winemaking process at a big winery, I won't say who they are, but they press their grapes 4 or 5 times
Yeah.
because they get that secondary juice, and sometimes they'll use that secondary juice for another label, and that's of course cash, for them. But just pressing them once or twice, you're doing it pure. That explains the purity of the fruit. You're not getting any of that other things that come along with the grape that can keep pressing. So, yeah, that's very cool. So this Syrah, great color. That blueberries are crazy.
It's charry too.
A lot of red flowers.
Yeah.
That's one of the things that impress me about these wines too, is they show a lot of that floral character that us wine geeks really like.
That coconut kind of shows up quite a bit on this wine, right? With that
Well, the V&A probably helps quite a bit. Yeah, exactly. Yep, that's what I remember. Very meaty. I mean, it's got great texture to it, but it's not fruit forward. And like we were talking just before we started shooting,
Yeah.
the bacon fat thing. Yeah, the bacon fat, there's no bacon fat, but there is a slight underlying smokiness that comes through barely. But like I said about this wine, it's so pure. It's seamless, pure, it's bright without getting too bright. It's fruit without being too fruity. I mean, that's just great effort. And then that licorice right on the very, very back end is very cool. And I think this rolls in like at about 45?
40 bucks.
40 bucks.
Yeah.
That's a steal. He's got some guys around here that charge a lot more than that. We're down in the, what is this called, the Sodo?
Sodo Urban Works, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Kerloo
Sodo.
headquarters.
What is it called, Sodo?
Sodo Urban Works.
Urban Works, yes.
Yeah.
And this is fairly new, isn't it?
It's new. So I was the first winery production facility down here, and then Paul Football, it's a mailing-list only company, great guy. It was down the hallway, and then after we moved in here, all my wall friends called Trey and Sean and all those cats, and they moved down for tastings as well. So now we have what, eight wineries? Nine wineries now. So we have a destination cranking. So it's been going great.
Yeah, awesome. So probably your native yeast thing is probably going a lot easier these days, now that there's some yeast hanging out in the room.
Yeah, it's a dicey deal. Natives are obviously, from a Florida yeast from the vineyard, or they're native yeast living in the winery, right? And native yeast, there's multiple yeast taking over in the ferment. I've done a lot of analysis on it. Early on, I was like, well, there's no yeast here. I'm going to see what I can do. The last few years, they seem to kick off fairly okay. Yeah, there's a bunch cranking around, trying to make it happen, and that's kind of what goes into to our firms and stuff.
So what's your total case production right now?
We're about 2,800 to 3,200 cases a year, depending on tonnage.
Okay. Do you have a goal where
We're done.
You're done? That's where you're going to stay? Okay. All right.
Making wines like this is what I want to do.
You don't want to get where you have to be burdened with too many people helping out and all that. That's cool.
See when I make the wines, and Sarah's post up too, and some friends, and we just we get it done here, and we drive our trucks around and pick up fruit, and make it happen.
Well, I hope you're ready to sell out. That now that you're the winery of the year,
Let's go get it.
everybody's going to see
Because
the
of you.
interview. And no,
Just stand. Cheers. Just
I'm exaggerating just slightly, but you will get some traction off of that for sure. Do you know Michael Savage?
Yeah.
Yeah, he was my winery of the year 2 years ago. And he sold out of a few wines. It's cool.
Great.
Yeah.
Come buy some wine, everybody. We're running low as well, so you better buy it now.
And you're a good marketer, I think.
Yeah, we tried.
But I thought I was really curious, you actually worked in the distribution level for a while.
Columbia.
Columbia,
Yeah, way
okay.
back. Before they actually merged with K&L. Yeah, correct, actually. Christ save it. Yeah, before they merged with K&L.
But that's a good thing. That's a valuable thing for any winemaker, to be on that level of actually selling wine to other people. I always say this, that when I'm critiquing wine, I look at it from the standpoint of all these people that I have to sell wine to. If I sell them a bad bottle of wine, they're going to come back and beat me in the head.
Oh, yeah.
And they do. They tell me. So I try to keep that down to a bare minimum,
Yeah.
under 0.5%.
You can just sell Kerloo, you'll be fine.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And so what it makes you do is realize what people are looking for, what makes a wine good, what makes it bad. And the problem with a lot of critics, and I respect them all for sure, is that they don't have that experience of somebody coming back to them and saying, they might get a letter or a thing on their website, but have somebody physically come in the store and say, hey, Stan, that wine you sold me, really, I really liked it. Of course, I give them another bottle of something that they will like based on the input that they give me. It just makes you become more in tune to what the wine world is all about, and it keeps me away from my own personal preference a lot. Because there's some wines I like that nobody else will like. Like I got like a really dirty Bordeaux.
Yeah.
I love them. but
A little red on it.
Yeah,
Dirty, dirty.
just nice and dirty.
Money.
I tend to get away from, I'm not a big fan of the Loire Valley Cab Franc. I don't like salad in my wine.
Yeah.
But I understand that people like that.
Pure Syrah.
Just because it has salad in it doesn't mean it's a bad wine. So that's what you learn by selling wine to people. And it really helps. So this is the cab that everybody
You tasted Clipson before. This is a reserve cab.
Okay.
So a little different. This is two sites. This is Clipson, little Dionysus,
Okay.
along the river there. Don't go to Hanford, but it's cool.
That's a cool thing.
Yeah, it's cool. Yeah. So 100% Cabernet. Little prettier than our Clipson. Clipson's a little more ripe wine, but in a good way. This wine's a little more delicate. We only make a few cabs a year.
This is a little dirty on the nose.
A little dirty.
I like that.
Yeah. Dirty's good. Take some soil, put it in your mouth. It's okay. So give it a swirl.
It's dirty, but prominently currants on the nose. Don't get me wrong, you're not sticking your nose in a pile of dirt.
Yeah. A little bit of both.
A little bit for sure.
A little leathery.
Yeah,
A little smoky.
absolutely.
It's good stuff. So some focus.
Oh yeah. Once again, you struck the balance between finesse and power all at the same time. That's a hard, and then I love the tobacco on the finish. I mean, feels like I just chewed on it.
Yeah. Tobacco's good. I like tobacco.
Cigar. So do I. That's one of my favorite things in red wine. So I think we've covered pretty much your philosophy and everything that you shoot for in wine, and I really look forward to future releases. If you watch, I did an episode, I just put it up last night, so that would have been on the 23rd, Michael Jordan Day. I did the review of the whites, and when I hit his Chardonnay, I reviewed the Chardonnay, the 16.
Tasty.
It took me a while, and you'll notice on there that it took me a while to wrap my mind around what he was doing. Because one thing a wine critic has to do is never be predisposed to what it should taste like. Washington Chard tends to be a little bit flabbier, buttery. In fact, Washington Chard to me sometimes I have trouble finding good ones, personally.
Hey Steven, grab 2 more glasses. We'll battle a Chardonnay real quick.
Once I finally wrapped my mind around what Brian was trying to achieve, and I had not, this is the first time I met Brian, but I could tell through the wine what he was going for. And I decided that if you put that Chardonnay in a lineup of Chablis, you would be hard-pressed to tell it came from Washington State. You would think it was from Chablis. So we got a little crew back here helping. In fact, why don't you guys come around and introduce yourself? We have Stephen from the assistant winemaker, correct?
Yep.
Then these ladies, who are you?
I'm Yvonne, I'm the operations and marketing director.
Okay. And then you're doing all.
Sarah.
Sarah. Okay. Sarah and Yvonne. And they do a good job here. Beautiful place, by the way. I'm going to take some pictures and do a little article on my PI blog as well about this. But we tasted this, and I'm serious. Is this a 16 or a 15?
So, Stan tasted our current release.
Oh, yeah.
This is a 15th Lila Chardonnay. It's kind of funny with Chardonnay and Cabernet for us at Kerloo. I was like, I'm not making those wines. A long time ago. And there's a funny story with Cabernet. I won't get into it really, but with Chardonnay was kind of the same thing. I ended up tasting a lot of Chardonnays out of Washington, and I was like, well, I want to make a Chardonnay that tastes like Chardonnay. So we started the venture 2 years ago. Colder site, earlier picks, higher acid, much more food-driven sort of style of Chardonnay. So this is a 15-1. I wanted to say the taste, just because it's a little bit in the bottle. Our younger Chardonnays take a little more time to come around because they're so high acid and they're a little confused. This one is kind of getting to the point where it's got a 10 of life left in it, but it's kind of getting to where I think Chardonnay should taste like. This is 15 Cellar Chard, kind of a reserve label that we did 2015 vintage. It smells good now.
Yeah.
Awesome. It's really opening up.
It's really opening up. But still, if you put, and I'm going to do it, I promised them, I'm going to do a lineup of about 4 or 5 Chablis and do an episode, and I'm going to stick this in here. I'll have somebody put it in there. I'm not going to know which one is his. And I would venture to say that I might guess it as a Chablis, even though I know there's going to be one Chard in there. It's hard to tell. It's very well made. And I think in that episode I said that I believe the Chardonnay can lay down 5 to 10 years and evolve into maybe more what people are looking for in a Chard, but not too much more.
Yeah.
And that's the beauty of it. I mean, this is my mouth is watering. I almost can't talk.
It's watery.
Slobber on my shirt here in a minute. That's how good it is. Thank you guys. Thank you, Ryan.
Thanks, Dan.
Let me come down and interview.
Always.
It's great.
Welcome.
And you guys check it out. Come down here if you're down here. Check
Come
out
see us.
Kerloo Cellars.
Where are we located at?
You're located at Sodo
Urban Works.
Urban Works. Okay.
Just a block south of the West Seattle Bridge on First
Block
Avenue.
Yeah, if you go down 99, you just go up wherever that road is down there. They have you go up this little cafe there called something. Breakfast place.
That sounds Hudson.
Hudson.
Yep.
Take a left on Hudson, a left on
Damn.
First Avenue, and it's right there. All right, guys. You keep watching, and I'll keep helping you spend your wine dollars wisely.